Welcome to episode 3 of Bites, Sites, and Life Insurance Insights. I'm your host, Bill Bell, Vice President of Advanced Sales with Penn Mutual, and I'm so pleased that you chose to join us here today. And as you can see, we are on the streets of Philadelphia here. In fact, as you saw the sign earlier, we're at the Reading Terminal Market, which was first established here in 1893. It's one of the must-see places in Philadelphia. It's got over 80 different food vendors inside, and we're just waiting for our special guest to arrive here. So, hey!
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
Welcome to Philadelphia.
Thanks for being our guest on Bite Sites and Life Insurance Insights. Why don't you tell our viewers who you are and what you do?
Great. Well, I'm Dave O'Malley, CEO of Penn Mutual Life, and thrilled to be here at Reading Terminal Market with Bill.
The food's inside. What do you say we go in and check it out?
Let's do it.
All right. Are you hungry?
I am.
All right, well, what do you say we get some food?
Let's do it.
All right.
I got this, Bill.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, sounds
You got to
good.
follow company expense policy.
That's true. We don't want to violate that. What's your favorite place in here?
The Knicks.
Mine too.
Yeah, I mean, you got so many great choices between the roast pork, but the brisket's awesome.
I've had every sandwich up there. I love the roast pork, but the meatball's my favorite. The sauce is great, the meatballs are great, but I think the bread is the real star, which is why all the sandwiches are so good.
Oh, absolutely. Totally.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So these were just so good.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah. We'll do 4 of each of these of your, yep. And then, Bill, you said peanut butter chocolate chip.
I did, yes. Yeah, peanut butter chocolate chip, that's my favorite.
Okay, and then I heard a mint chocolate chip.
That's exactly right.
Dude, we're just getting started here, too.
So Dave, you're a big Philly sports guy.
Absolutely.
What's your one moment that stands out as far as your whole life of Philly fandom? Is it when the Phillies won the World Series in the early 80s? The Eagles when they won the Super Bowl? What's your personal favorites?
You know, my personal when I was actually at the game was Roy Halladay's perfect game.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, was there for that, and that was fantastic.
I do believe it was perfect.
Yeah, I think it was perfect.
Yeah,
that was just unbelievable, being in the stands and everything else, and so that was lots of fun. The other thing is, like, for so many years, right, I grew up my entire life in Philadelphia. There was a long drought of not a lot of good sports. So
was the curse of Billy Penn, right?
Absolutely. And my first sporting memory was going to the 1980 World Series.
1980?
Yes.
Perfect. I think we're going to do a dozen.
Let's see. Let's get a few of the chocolate, maybe a few of the chocolate sprinkled.
Let's do a couple of the peanut butter chocolate.
Go with the strawberry glazed.
Maybe an apple fritter. A blueberry fritter. Why don't we do one of these M&M ones? The chocolate. Maybe one of these Fruity Pebble ones. We'll get fancy here.
And we'll go with a glazed cake.
So, the only time my favorite team, the Angels, ever made the World Series, it was in 2002. Unfortunately, it was the same year that I graduated law school, so you might imagine I didn't have the money to be able to afford to go to any of the games, but I can certainly understand how that was exciting for you as a kid to go to the 80 World Series.
Absolutely, yeah, it was very cool, and didn't realize that I wouldn't really see another Phillies World Series until many years later.
Yeah. Now, as far as the Philly sports team hierarchy here, would you say the Eagles are the most popular?
Yeah, I'd say the Eagles sit at the top of the hierarchy. Phillies, Flyers, Sixers.
All right, our last stop for dessert here. We got our cookies, we got our donuts.
That's definitely not least.
No, you definitely have to get our
This
pudding.
is your favorite, isn't it?
This is my favorite. It's the best place in this entire place here. I am great. So, let me get 3 of the Nutter Butter with chocolate. And what was the feature cup again?
Little chocolate swirl with brownies, banana pudding.
That's really good.
Yeah, let's get a couple of those and a couple of the classics. I would say that's probably going to be enough. Here, I'll get this one.
Okay, you get this one.
I'll get this one. I have to file at least one expense report for this trip. Is it a bad sign that it already knows my email address here to send the receipt to?
You know, I think that means you're a frequent customer. You didn't even have to put it in.
All right, well, I think we've got our food. What do you say we head back to our hotel? We got a secure conference room to record the rest of the interview. So we'll see.
And we got about 50,000 calories worth of food to eat.
That is correct. So we'll see you on the other side. We're in a beautiful car here, headed back to our secure filming location for our conversation and our food. But I know you're also a big car guy. What's your favorite car that you've ever owned, and are you working on anything right now?
Yeah, so I still own the first car I bought when I was 16. So I worked at the pharmacy and at a conference facility and bought a 1973 Corvette with 127,000 miles on it, and I've restored it a couple times over the years, but still own that. But I'd have to say my favorite car is my 1993 Fox Body LX Mustang convertible. So just always makes me, when I get in it, think of growing up, the cars we used to work on, and it's just just kind of a throwback for me. That's what we were playing with back in those high school and college days. So, but do like my cars, do like still wrenching on them when I have the time.
So does that have the 5.0 V8 engine in it?
Absolutely, 5.0 with Flowmaster rough mufflers, long tube headers, 5-speed transmission, free 73 years, and a Vortex supercharger.
Thank you. All right, Dave, so we've made it to our secure location here, and we've unwrapped our sandwiches. They look fantastic. You have the roast pork, I went with the meatball. They're both terrific. I've had them both in the past. But we want to analogize life insurance to a roast pork sandwich. You've probably never done that in the past, but we're gonna do it here on Bite Sites and Life Insurance Insights. So when you think about a roast pork sandwich, it takes time to really make a good one. You've got the quality ingredients, you got the slow roasting of the pork, you've got the roll that's really made with care. How is that like life insurance planning?
Wow, I've never done an analogy between food and life insurance, let alone between a roast pork sandwich and life insurance.
It's very specific.
First word that comes to mind is yummy, though. Okay, so I think at the end of the day, right, you think of all that care and attention that was taken, looking for that, and then you think about how life insurance has put together a lot of different features, functionality, all to achieve one goal. In this, obviously, food and enjoyment, but in life insurance, accomplishing the planning that someone's looking to do. So that's the one word. Yummy is the only one I can come up with, Phil.
It's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I would share your sentiments there. So let's shift a little bit to Penn Mutual specifically. So you spend a lot of time on the road like I do, and you get a chance to talk to a lot of financial professionals. When you're talking to financial professionals, what gets you most excited when you are discussing who we are at Penn Mutual?
I think the number one thing is that they are our customer, right? If you think about all the different things, like there's a lot of things we do similar to other companies, but the one thing we proudly have said for many, many years and will continue to say is that they're our customer. And hearing them and talking to them and understanding what works for them and how we can support them better and be able to provide better value for their clients, that's what really gets me excited, because we know who our customer is, we know the important role that they play, and we know that we can be there as a good partner to support them. And this really kind of engaging in that dialogue, I really do enjoy that. I do getting to understand their practices. There's so many different practices that are out there in the industry, different types, different designs, different target markets. It's really exciting to hear how different people have created success and, use our products and use our services and work with our people.
Well, you're a humble guy, and so you probably wouldn't say this, but one of the things that I hear all the time is Penn Mutual, great company, great products, but we love Dave O'Malley. You've got one of the best leaders in the industry, if not the best. I personally think the best. So that's one of the things that certainly gets our financial professionals excited about Penn Mutual is the leadership. And not just you, obviously, but the entire leadership team. And all the different things that they bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, it is really an honor to lead the company. I mean, coming up on 31 years at the company, seeing a lot of different aspects of it. I am so lucky to work with so many terrific people, some for many, many years, some for fewer years. But I do think that we continue to attract some of the best people in the life insurance industry to the company, and it's just a privilege to represent them and to continue to try and see what we can all accomplish together.
All right, well, our food's getting cold here, so why don't we take a minute to eat some of our sandwich, and then we'll ask you some more questions after we get a moment to digest here.
Sounds good. Yummy.
So we've talked about why you're excited to talk to financial professionals about Penn Mutual, but we haven't really talked about who we are and what we do. So if you were going to give the 30-second elevator speech about who we are as a carrier, what would it be?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we're three things. We're a leader in life insurance, right? We want to continue to have the broadest selection of life insurance products in the industry and continue to offer great life products. Financial professional, our customer, as we talked about. And we also have a deep belief that protection-based products, life insurance and annuities, make a financial plan work even better.
So another question that I get pretty frequently for people that aren't as into life insurance as you and I are is, what does the mutual mean in Penn Mutual? What does it mean to be a mutual company, and why is it so important to our value proposition?
Yeah, so I think, and I go back to, we were founded in 1847 as a mutual, the same day that the Pennsylvania Railroad was formed as a stock company in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And so what does mutuality really mean? Well, at the end of the day, it's that the company is beneficially owned by the policyholders. That doesn't mean that they have a share or they get to vote on that, but that the company is there in perpetuity to be run for the benefit of all the different policyholders. And that really creates that sort of virtuous cycle throughout economic cycles, allows us to take the long-term focus. We run the company as a for-profit entity, right? There's nothing about mutuality that says that we shouldn't be trying to earn top dollar. Our goal, though, is then to pass that back. Pass it back in terms of product performance, pass it back in terms of the guarantees, the stability throughout cycles, but we're really there to continue to ensure more people to be able to continue to grow the company and to make sure that people are protected. And mutual structure just allows us to do that without having ownership looking for a return or looking for a return of capital in the short term. Every other type of insurance company really has that type of owner who's looking for a return out of running the business. In a mutual, the policyholder benefits because of the fact that it's run for the benefit of policyholders over the short, intermediate, and long term.
And when you're thinking about a mutual structure like that, I think it meshes so well with the type of planning that my team helps financial professionals with, because we're talking about planning for families, businesses, and so forth that can be around for 30, 40, 50 years in some circumstances. You know that the company's going to be around for a long period of time, and that the planning that's put in place today is still going to be valid going forward.
Absolutely. And I think about, you say 5 decades, our oldest policies on the books were written in the 1930s. So you're talking 9 decades worth of promises and still being able to deliver that. You think about what the world looked like, what the US looked like 9 decades ago. It takes that type of long-term focus to do that, because that's what, the type of planning that you and your team work on, that financial professionals engage in those conversations. They're planning for many, many years down the road, not knowing what the economic cycle is going to look like, what technology will look like. But mutuality allows us to take that long-term approach.
All right, well, let's finish up our sandwiches, and we have so many desserts behind us. I can kind of smell them back there, so why don't we finish up our meal, and then we'll get to some desserty topics while we're having some sugar here in a few minutes.
Sounds great.
All right. All right, so Dave, we shifted the desserts here. I see you have a donut and a cookie. I decided to go with the banana pudding. There are no poor options behind us here.
Definitely no poor options.
So let's talk a little bit more about Penn Mutual.
you've been with the company for 31 years, as you said earlier, and you've seen a lot of changes. For those people unfamiliar with the company and some of the changes that we've gone through over the last 3 decades, what are some of your highlights?
Yeah, I mean, I think about where the company was. It feels like a totally different company than where it was that many years ago, but also very much there's things that are the same. Our values are the same. Our focuses are the same. But strategically, the size and scale of the company, I think of the size of our distribution system, the technology that we use that runs throughout the business, the support that we're able to have, the product portfolio breadth that we have today. Very, very different. And so it's really been a period of growth. I go back and I look at it and I say, wow, Penn Mutual now grows one Penn Mutual of 31 years ago every year now. And so that to me is really cool. Like to see that evolution to where literally the company that I started working for is that size bigger every year, year after year is really interesting and neat to see.
That's incredible. And one of the things that I think our financial professionals really appreciate, but you had a big part in, was the ACE system. How is that something that came about, and why was that so important for you to develop here at Penn Mutual?
I think when we think about the business, right, the ease of doing business, making it easier to acquire our product, made easier for financial professionals to go through the process is so critical in order to get more insurance written. And that should be our goal all the time. How do we write more insurance, get more people protected? And then we think about, well, how does technology play into that in the world that we all live in, right? The changing preferences of buying things that we all have on our phones. Well, why can't life insurance be that way? Why does it have to take 30, 45 days? And when I think about the length of time, right, some of the things that made ACE possible, made us be a pioneer in sort of electronic application process, really happened 20 years before ACE. And that was consolidating from 19 admin systems down to one admin platform. Being able to focus on having a single version of the truth with big data as we kind of ended the 20 teens. And then that was allowed us to move on to ACE and build a platform that was truly differentiated, because at the end of the day, we are in a data business. We are in a business that can leverage technology very effectively. And ACE really was able to show a lot of investments that have taken place 10, 15 years before it, put out something that was truly differentiated. And it really allows everybody to increase the value of their time, allow people all throughout the company to be able to focus on providing excellent support, excellent service, and not have to handhold something through the paper process or deal with the issue with applications. It's really allowed us to really focus on what's important as a company, not just the paper and the act of getting a product in place, but it allows us to do it much faster.
So speaking of the people at Penn Mutual, one of the biggest changes has been kind of our move to home philosophy, in the sense that we don't really have a home office anymore. We have a fully remote workforce. What is the decision in regards to going fully remote, and what have the results been so far?
Yeah, the results have been spectacular, though. I think that when we got to this place over a series of things that happened, obviously the pandemic was not something we were planning for, we were expecting. But when the pandemic hit in 2020, we had prepared our disaster recovery for everybody to work remotely. And what we found through that process, and it was a journey to get there, and no journey is a straight line, but we found that by meeting our people with where they were at and listening to our people, right, that we were able to see that our people were able to work more effectively, they were more productive, they were happier, our engagement went up. It allowed us to attract more talent to the company. It works for us from a corporate perspective. So let's embrace this. Let's not try and live in a middle world of sort of hybrid, but let's really meet our people with where they're at and what they're asking us to do, which was to work remotely and give them the flexibility. So we still do have space, right? We have space in Conshohocken. We have space throughout the country. We give our employees the ability to get space at their demand through a company called Liquid Space. But we are embracing a fully flexible future where we meet our people with where they're at. And I believe that's going to continue to serve our policyholders extremely well for the future. It's different. It's something that wasn't gotten too lightly, but has worked really well for us so far. And there is no going back. And at the same time, where we probably see each other 15, 20 times a year in person. So we're still getting together. We're just making sure that when we get together, it's for impactful reasons with intention. And then people are able to live their life around that. So, I view that this is just kind of embracing, the way the world is moving. I think that as, people continue to move into our industry, when you're a talent differentiator, it's going to attract the best people to us. It's going to accrue great benefits to all of our stakeholders around the company.
Terrific. Well, I can see you eyeing your cookie there, so why don't we give it a few minutes to have some dessert here, and then we'll be back on to wrap it up with a couple of questions at the end of the show here.
Sounds great.
All right.
Put the cannoli down.
All right, Dave, last question for you. Not only are you an expert in all things Penn Mutual, but I consider you an expert in kind of trends in the life insurance industry as a whole. I'd like you to get out your crystal ball and look into the not too distant future, say like 5 years from now. Where do you see the industry going? Where do you think the biggest trends are going to be? What do you kind of see for the near future of the life insurance industry?
Well, I think the future is very bright for the industry as I look out, and I think it's bright for a number of reasons, some of which we touched on. I think as we make it easier to acquire our products, as we continue to be able to provide exceptional service support, show the value that our products have within a holistic plan, I think that we will see a continued increase in the amount of life insurance sold. And I think that's a major super cycle. And I've talked about that in other places. So I'm very bullish from that perspective. I also think that there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, right? And there's a lot of uncertainty, a few months ago, we were talking about the sunset of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. And now it's just a different conversation, right? About what was coming next. How are we going to deal with a $36 trillion national deficit? What implications does that have for long-term planning? All those things will continue to evolve around us, and we can't really control them. But at the end of the day, our products provide better solutions to them over the long term than any other product that is out there in the financial services marketplace. So to me, uncertainty of outcome and life insurance go together. And I think there is more uncertainty. There is more need for planning. I think people have seen that, and I think it's very bullish where we're going.
So solid, flexible planning with solid, flexible products is what you're saying is, given the uncertainty in regards to kind of the future, is what financial professionals and clients should both be thinking about.
Absolutely, because that flexible planning, no one knows the future. I don't know the future. You don't know the future. But we know that if we put good, solid planning practices and a flexible structure together, we're going to end up with a better outcome over time, that under any scenario.
So Dave, thank you so much for taking so much time out of your very busy schedule to join us on this episode of Bite Sites and Life Insurance Insights. And for those of you watching at home or on your computer, your phone, wherever you're watching this, stay tuned for episode 4, which will be out shortly. So Dave, thanks again.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this glimpse of what it's like to spend time with Dave. Just a tremendous guy, tremendous leader, and a tremendous life insurance luminary. 3 quick takeaways from the discussion. 1, Penn Mutual is dedicated to its mutual structure. In fact, some people would call it our superpower. 2, having a diverse set of products is the best form of risk management, and that is certainly the approach we take here at Penn Mutual. And 3, even though he's an Eagles fan, I'm okay with Dave O'Malley. So to the city of Philadelphia, thank you so much for the bites and the sites. And to Dave O'Malley, thank you so much for the Life Insurance Insights. I'm Bill Bell. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. If you got value from this video, make sure you check out our previous videos. We know you will love them.